talk about the one, the only M. Night Shyamalan. We're going from talking about some iconic directors to one of the most controversial, his upcoming movie Trap. This is his next movie following Knock at the Cabin, starring Dave Bautista, right, a couple of years ago. Uh, Very interesting looking premise. Very interesting looking premise. A movie starring Josh Hartnett, who is back in the limelight following his appearance in Oppenheimer. He's been doing smaller scale projects, but this seems like a huge leap and a reintroduction to a lot of different audiences. Him as the lead, and him as the butcher, him as a potential serial killer that M. Night Shyamalan has built a movie around, with him bringing his daughter to a pop star show, and it is seemingly a trap set by the authorities to capture, right, the butcher. This is releasing August 9th, Ricky Flicks. Your initial reactions to this trailer?
When we've talked about this movie, we were really hyped up for it because Josh Hartnett getting back in the game post Oppenheimer. And it's like, oh, awesome. Him and his daughter. You got to protect themselves against a serial killer. No, no, no. He's the serial killer. He's the guy they're looking for and trapping. Things just got more interesting, Doctor. Not only from a story perspective, but from a career perspective for Josh Hartnett. This is a good turn to make. And this will really prove if he really does have good acting chops. In Oppenheimer, he's just kind of like the cool guy that's good looking and a teacher that's like, Oppie, you're nuts. But here, it's like, he's going to have to do some acting. Now, problem is, I don't think this looks good.
What?
I think
I'm
the
very
story's
intrigued.
awesome. But the close-ups, the awkward dialogue, I don't think this looks very good.
I think the sketchy acting was from the concessions guy that was talking with Josh Hartnett in the trailer. But I think this is going to be a showcase for Josh Hartnett. This is such a leap from what we saw in Oppenheimer. There's going to be intense screen time for Hartnett here, and it's got to be something really juicy if you're a Josh Hartnett fan, because he's kind of a dude living a dual life. I think the casting is pretty genius. It's this good-looking dude who is probably late 30s, probably comes off as a very heartwarming dad, a good dad. And this trailer takes quite the turn when he walks into the bathroom and he has videotape of a guy being held captive, tied up in his basement. And then there's a guy reaching for a meat cleaver. This is a super unique idea, right? Last time we saw M. Night Shyamalan was Knock at the Cabin, Dave Bautista, with an excellent starring turn in that movie. And that's with a pretty talented cast around him. This is the Josh Hartnett show. The other notable name on this cast is actually Salika Shyamalan. It's M. Night's daughter who's playing the pop star Raven, right, according to this trailer. So it's going to be heavy lifting. And I think it's going on a classic, like, this is only M. Night Shyamalan like could think of and conceive of this type of movie, and we're begging for unique type of films. I'm in on this trailer. I'm the other way.
I think I really like everything except I don't think it feels right. Like it gave me a little bit of an ick watching it with the close-ups, and it wasn't Hartnett. It wasn't Hartnett. I know he had the dad joke, but that's like kind of like first act. Just you're not supposed to know he's the killer, right? So that's fine. But the other thing I thought of related to the show, and we'll get back on the same page here. The other thing I thought of, this is low key an audition for Harvey Dent.
Right, the duality is like a Harvey Dent type of, I guess, approach to a character.
He's been rumored for Batman 2 to be Harvey Dent. I think this might be an audition here.
Yeah, I mean, even without this movie, I would have been like A-okay with him playing Harvey Dent. If he can actually carry an M. Night Shyamalan movie and it's successful, right, that's just like the cherry on top, right, of our approval of him playing and joining Matt Reeves' universe. Yeah, but it's just M. Night Shyamalan movies aren't very trustworthy, right? It seems like they're hit or miss. It's like Fulton Reed. He goes 1 for 10, but that one, it'll stick with you, right? And I think this premise, like, it's bold, but it's doable. It's not too ambitious, I think, because of how small the cast is. Like, Old was super ambitious. I think that idea was almost too big and too daring, right, to be put to screen. And it didn't have like a heart and soul of it at the middle. It's not like Alex Wolff was the center of old. Here it's like Josh Hartnett. And for some reason, I feel like I can lean on Josh Hartnett in this movie. I can trust him in this movie. Like, the only thing I was also concerned about is this the movie? Like, is this spoiling everything? But knowing M. Night Shyamalan, this is only the beginning. You're about to see a bunch of craziness in this movie that I know I will not be able to predict. That's also why I'm so excited for it. That this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is the reason why he only showed this in the trailer.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. And like old, we had the same comments. Like, did he show us too much? And maybe he did, but they had enough twists and turns where it's like, oh, maybe he went a little too far. Classic M Night. But you know what? I think this is just fine, just fine. If I had to do thermometer predictor,
Mm.
M Night again, it's hit or miss. I got The Village 44%, Glass 37%. I think this beats both of those. Old's at 50%, and I think that's the one. And I'm gonna say 49% for M Night here.
Okay.
I don't have faith in it.
71 for me. 71% Ricky Flex. I got faith in Josh Hartnett, and I think this is going to be because Knock at the Cabin, I think it's a similar score, honestly. It's like early 70s, but that's like considered critically
67.
It's 67.
Yes.
And so critically, that is kind of a success for an M. Night Shyamalan.